Hello Mindsetters, I'm so glad to be back with you. Last week I was absent because I had my wisdom teeth removed, but I'm back and ready. We're here for grade 10 Life Sciences. Cheryl?
Hi, good evening. We're going to be looking at tonight. We're going to start off with the leaf. You guys have done the plant tissue, and now we're going to actually look at the organs, and we're going to start off with the leaf.
Okay, well, that's so cool. Let me tell you quickly there's a few things happening here at the studios, but before I get started with that, let me just tell you about where you can get all this information. Is at www.facebook.com/learnextra with an X. And also, if you go to the web page, there's a lot of videos and all these notes, so you want to be like totally prepared. There's all the notes that you can catch on www.mindset.co.za/learnextra. Or if you have any questions for me, please don't feel bad. Just ask me on Twitter @LearnExtra. But another exciting thing happening at the studios is a new talk show, Connections. So don't forget, the auditions are tomorrow between 9 and 1 o'clock here at the Randburg Studios. And in case you don't know exactly, you want more information, please just go to the Facebook page or ask me now and I'll tell you all you need to know. But for now, we're going to do the leaf. I'm so excited because I just want to learn everything about leaves because we deal with it every single day. So Cheryl's going to take us away with the leaf. Tune in, okay?
She wants to learn how to do the leaf because she didn't take the most amazing subject, life science, at school, so now we're going to have to teach her. We're going to start off, you have done the plant tissues. The last couple of sections, you looked at plant tissues, and now we know that if we put a group of tissues together, we're going to make organs. And we're going to start off with the plant organs, and today we're going to start off with the leaf. All right, just quickly, as you can see from the description, we're going to look at what it looks like on the outside, the external structure, and then going in deeper to the internal structure. Right, so you guys need to remember, we need to know what it looks like on the outside and then in the inside. Remember the inside, that is where you learned your plant tissues, and that's where we're going to have to connect the dots. I'm going to go across here quickly, and we're going to just have a quick look at some of the examples of some of the leaves. I haven't brought a great variety, right? I just want to touch on a few things with you when we look at the leaf. Right, first thing that I think you're going to notice, first of all, is that it's its color, and that is that it's green. Now, when we look at the structure of the leaf, every time we look at the structure, you need to please concentrate on the fact that the most important function of this leaf is photosynthesis. All right, to be able to make food. So the way the leaf is structured on the outside, and then when we look on the inside, it's going to make sure that photosynthesis can happen to its optimum. If we have a look at the leaves here, you will see, if we're going to go for the external structure, all right, we will see that the most obvious part here, that is going to be your leaf blade or your lamina. That's the surface of the leaf. I'm sure all of you have drawn one a time before. And if we have a look at the variety here, you see that obviously different plants are going to have different shapes. Now, most leaves, right, have a little stalk over here, and that is, it's attached to the stem. That is called the petiole. Remember, when we're talking, also look at the notes. Terminology is important here. You need to talk biologically. That is the little petiole, and the petiole, right, is going to keep the leaf upright. And the reason why I want the leaf upright or exposed is because I want the sunlight to fall on my whole leaf. I don't want it to droop, all right? I want it to be nice and strong, and if it's nice and strong, the leaf blade will be out and it can trap the sunlight. So if I'm looking at my petiole here, and I say I want to be strong, we need to look at tissues like the parenchyma, all right, where it's on the outside, a strengthening tissue. Now, if we look at the leaf and we turn it around, all right, we actually will see that there's a difference between the top and the bottom. And that is why very often we refer to the leaf as dorsiventral, all right? Dorsal meaning top, ventral meaning bottom. If we look at the root and the stem, you'll see you can't tell the difference between a top and bottom because it isn't, because it's round. But when it comes to the leaf, there is a definite difference on the top and at the bottom. Okay? Also, in other words, sometimes your teachers might use abaxial and adaxial. All right? I always remember that ab, all right, is with a B, and that's the same as bottom. All right, and that is going to be at the bottom, and then the ad will be your surface at the top. If you look very carefully at the leaf, you will see that, and I'm sure when you draw a leaf, you always tend to draw it, there's this long line through the middle, and then you have these lines radiating. I'll go to the board later just now, and we'll just have a look at the diagram again. Those are veins, okay? Those are the veins. The one going right down the middle, that is the main vein. And the main vein, all right, the same as our veins, is going to be the transport tissue. Now, if we remember, plant tissues, our two transport tissues were our xylem and our phloem, all right? Our xylem and our phloem. So we have a top of the leaf, it's its apex. The edges of its leaf is its margins. Here, the petiole, the leaf stalk, we have this main vein, which is the transport of it. You will also notice when we get to the bottom, all right, if you sometimes feel the leaf, that the bottom surface, you'll see it feels like a bit waxy. Quite often leaves have what we call a cuticle. It's not a tissue layer, but just a waxy substance that prevents the leaf from desiccation, drying out. If you'll see here, the leaves, these tiny little ones, this is from a fern. You're going to in grade 11, you look at it, all right, and this little leaf over here we call a variegated leaf. All right, because when we do photosynthesis, we use it as a wonderful experiment to see if chlorophyll is necessary in a plant, because the green is the chlorophyll and the white is no chlorophyll. So this is one little experiment and control by itself. You will see now when we look at the leaves, these two leaves over here are a little bit different to the rest of the leaves. When we start looking at plant organs, we differentiate between two different kinds of angiosperm plants. That's the flowering plants. We look at a monocotyledonous plant, which has one cotyledon. Mono is one. All right, if you go and open a milli, all right, if you have a milli next time, if you have some popcorn, open it up, you see you're just going to find one little kernel inside. But these ones, okay, are dicotyledonous. They have two, all right, cotyledons. Go next time you have some beans, try and open it up, and right, you'll see two little pieces. When we talk about a dicot plant, there's one thing about leaves that's very clear that it's a dicot. It has one main vein and all the little extras, the lateral ones, coming from the side. But if I look at a monocotyledonous plant, and this is my pineapple leaf over here, and this leaf, what do we notice? We can't see, I'm going to use this one, you can't see the same pattern, all right? All the veins are parallel to each other. Okay, so when we talk about a dicot, if you're wondering, you're walking through, leaves are all around you. If it has what we call a net vein structure, it's a dicotyledonous plant. But if all the veins are parallel, they run in the same direction, all right, that is going to be your, all right, your monocotyledonous. This is also, the pineapple leaf is a very nice, because if you tear it, you get the fibers, and you can ask your teacher to have a look at it underneath the microscope, and you're going to see sclerenchyma fibers over there. Okay, let's go and have a look to see what the leaf looks like if we have a diagram. All right, there we go. We've just said, all right, quickly, the apex is always the top, the margin on the side. There are my veins, my midrib running down the middle, all right, and my petiole, which is going to hold it up, all right, that is going to be my leaf stalk. Now, if we look at the internal structure, this is a diagram that you must become very familiar with. And as you'll see, as I've gone through the notes, I've tried to put different pictures up so that you become more aware of the different kinds of ways that this diagram, this one particular diagram, can be shown. Now, you need to keep in mind when we look at the internal structure, we need to be adapted, all right, most importantly for photosynthesis, all right? Also gaseous exchange and transport, but photosynthesis is the main function of the leaf. Okay, if we have a look at the leaf over here, let's start off looking at the plant tissues. First of all, surrounding all the organs, from the roots all the way to the leaf, you have to have a protective cover. And that protective cover is going to be your epidermis, all right? If I look at the pen over here, I'm going to use the blue, all right? This top layer over here, these cells, if you notice, they are thin, they are single cells, and the reason why I chose this diagram as well is that there's no color in it. The epidermal cells that cover the leaf, the very top layer, must be transparent. They must be see-through, all right? And if you can think of it, remember photosynthesis. I'm going to draw a little sun up here, all right? Because we know that photosynthesis is when we use sunlight to make food. So sunlight needs to be, all right, needs to come through to my plant. So just keep that sun in your mind there. So we've got this thin layer of transparent epidermal cells. Now remember, on top of it, all right, is my waxy cuticle. It's also transparent. So if we make the leap, the reason why it's transparent, the sunlight must be able to pass through very easily. Because if you have a look at the cells right underneath my epidermis, what do you notice about the color? They are green, all right? And green is there for a reason, because they are filled with chloroplasts. If they're filled with chloroplasts, what are they going to do? Photosynthesize, all right? So have a look where they are. They're directly underneath the epidermis. All right, so we've got the epidermis, and right underneath it, we've got these long cells. Now, if we have a look at them, let's look at the structure. They're elongated, they're thin, the walls are thin, all right? So if I were to, let's go back to our plant tissue memory, all right? What cells had a nice thin wall and sometimes were packed with chloroplasts? Yes, okay? Parenchyma. Sometimes you can say parenchyma. That's fine, because sometimes how you say it might help you to spell it. Okay? Those are my parenchyma cells. They're right underneath the sunlight, so the epidermis. So the sunlight, all right, when it comes through, wow, it triggers, all right, onto each of those chloroplasts. Now have a look at the cell. It's not short, all right? It's long. It's long. And in making it really long, we increase the surface area. So more sunlight, all right, can come and be trapped inside the cell. You want to photosynthesize. You need the sunlight, okay? So we increase the elongated cells, all right, are there for photosynthesis. And because they're so nice and long, what are they packed with? Chloroplasts. The more chloroplasts you have, the more you can photosynthesize, the more food that you can make. Now, we don't call it parenchyma. It has a special name. And you will see over here, it's called the palisade parenchyma. Almost, if those of you who've got palisade fences, right, it's long poles that stick out the ground like that. That's exactly palisade. Now, we refer to the tissue in between the epidermis, because you've got a top and a bottom. Remember, I said dorsiventral. We call that tissue mesophyll, all right? Meso, middle, all right? So it basically is your packing in your middle. And remember, that's exactly what your parenchyma does. P for packing, all right? And here, it's packed with chloroplasts. Now, its sister or brother, all right, you will notice are these round ones over here. They are not so close to the surface, all right? They do have chloroplasts, but they don't have as many. And if you'll notice, most important, there's lots and lots and lots of spaces between them. Because when you learn about photosynthesis, all right, you will notice that one of the things you need is carbon dioxide, all right? So there's going to be lots of gases that is going to be in there, all right? So that we can have photosynthesis can occur. This little sister is called the spongy mesophyll. Looks like a sponge, palisade for long, spongy mesophyll for round, with lots of spaces in between.
Cool. Do you think it's time for a little bit
I
of
think
an
it's
ad?
time for a little bit of
Little
break.
bit.
A little bit.
Okay, cool. Well, grade 10s, I know that I've learned so much about a leaf. I didn't know so many components can be all structured into a tiny little thing this big, but it's okay. So go quickly, go get water, refresh your notes, go through it, and of course, Cheryl and I will be waiting for you when we get right back with Life Sciences grade 10 on, of course, the leaf. Welcome back, grade 10s. I know you guys are a little bit refreshed now and everything's going well, and I know you just want to learn, because that's what I want to do, and I know you want to do it, so please don't forget, come post your comments, post what you're thinking about it, leaves. I mean, it's everything that we deal with every single day. So it's on the Facebook page, www.facebook.com/learnextra with an X. So let's get learning. What do you think, Cheryl?
Let's get learning.
Okay, cool.
Right, let's carry on with our structure of the leaf. Guys, please remember that the reason why you're studying it now in grade 10 is when you go to grade 11, right, we use this as the base for when we start photosynthesis. So if you know the structure of the leaf already, all right, and you know it well, you've already almost done some of the stuff for next year. So try and keep it into your memory bank, okay? We went over the epidermis, we spoke about the palisade and the spongy mesophyll. Now remember I said to you when you looked at your leaf, we looked at that long main vein down the middle, and that's your transport tissue. And there you can see, all right in the middle of my leaf, that is my main vein. And when we talk about transport in the leaf, it's the same. Our blood system is our transport system. We have two cells, well, two tissues that are our transport tissues, our xylem, right, and our phloem. Here we have our xylem, there we have the phloem. Remember from plant tissues, xylem, always think of a straw, all right? It's nice and hollow, and it brings water all the way from the roots to the top. And the reason why it brings the water is going to be a necessary raw material for photosynthesis to occur. Once photosynthesis has occurred and you've now made food, all right, so you've had an elevator go up with water, the xylem, you now need the food to go down. That is going to go down in the phloem. So you've got that double elevator system. Water and minerals coming up and the food going down. So water coming up for the photosynthesis and the food that was made during photosynthesis now going down. Now let's look at the bottom of the leaf, all right? The ventral side, the abaxial side. Now, if you have a look at the bottom, here you will see that there is, when I say bottom lower, all right? You will see that there are very specialized cells, okay? And they are over here. And we call them the stomata. If I'm not, let's go, if we look over here, there we go. On the bottom, all right, of each of on the lower surface of a leaf, you are going to find little openings. And here, this is a whole structure. It consists of two guard cells, all right? There's the nucleus. Here's normal epidermal cells. Now, you should have covered this when you did epidermal tissue, because epidermal tissue can have certain tweaks to it, all right, like upgrades that you need to have a special function, so we add a little bit of a feature onto it. And over here on the leaf, we need the leaf to be able to bring gases in and to let gases out, as well as to release water. So when we look at the epidermis of the leaf, if you'll see over here, as I have said to you, all right, when we look at the epidermis of the leaf, we need to be able, all right, for oxygen and carbon dioxide to be exchanged. Now, we use our lungs, our breathing system. Plants don't have that. So they need to have cells that are able to open and close, all right, open and close, because if they are open, carbon dioxide can come in, all right, for photosynthesis, and oxygen can be released. Also, water can then be lost in transpiration, which we're going to look at later when we look at how water moves through a plant. You will also notice there the shape of the cells, guard cells. So that is a guard cell. The hole in the middle is called a stoma. So the hole is the stoma, all right? And then what do we see? The stoma and the guard cell make up a structure called the stomata. These cells are the normal epidermal. That is the stomata. They look very different, okay? So they're going to have an important function where they are going to then bring in the gases that are needed for photosynthesis. If you have a look over here, again, all right, we have a look at the palisade and the spongy, how they are adapted. Okay, I'm sure you remember this from your plant tissue. I just put it in to remind you the difference between the xylem and the phloem. Xylem, hollow, non-living. All right, we want water to stick to it, adhere. There's my xylem, all right. Here's my phloem. Nice little exercise that you can do, all right, in your class for tissues is you can actually take the leaf if you want to see the stomata. You can actually take a leaf if you have microscopes at your school, and you take the bottom surface of the leaf, all right, and you take a little bit of nail varnish, and you rub the nail varnish on, and you let it dry, then you take your tweezers, and you pull that nail varnish off, and you look at it underneath the microscope, you are going to see some lovely, all right, diagrams of the stomata. If you take celery, right, and you take if you cut celery and when you peel it, you see like a little, those of you, I don't like celery, all right, and you pull it up, you get like these stringy bits. And if you have a look underneath the microscope, you're going to see these lovely looking xylem. Okay, so if we have a look at if we have a look at terminology, please remember what I've used: petiole, epidermis, palisade mesophyll, spongy mesophyll. I've looked at the dicotyledonous plant versus a monocotyledonous plant. So when we look at our plant structures, all right, you need to remember all of those terms. And as I said to you, most important, how is the plant adapted to photosynthesis? All right, let's go through that one more time if we have a look. And what I've tried to do is I've put the description has a number next to it, and what you will see is I've tried to correlate that number with a picture so that you can maybe understand better. I'm going to go through the numbers. All right, so if we look at number 1, all right, what do we have? The leaf has got a lovely big leaf blade, all right, and the bigger it is, the more sunlight can fall on it, right? The more sunlight that can fall on it, the better for photosynthesis. So if we have a look over here, we've got a nice large, another word for leaf blade, lamina, all right? Lamina. You will also notice when we were looking at our leaves, they were very thin. Most of the time, leaves are very thin. Right? It's only when they need special adaptations. I think we're going to hear a word later this year, xerophyte. Right? Plants that live with zero water or very little water. So they're going to need to change. If it can't get a lot of water, it doesn't want to lose a lot. And there you're going to need to change your leaf structure a little bit. Not only does it need to photosynthesize, but it also needs to be a bit of a retainer. All right, then number 3, as I said to you, okay, what do we say about our cuticle? It's a thin layer and it is transparent, right? So the sunlight can come right through, all right, so it can travel through the epidermis to my palisade. And that also, it's waterproof. Remember, I don't want to lose too much water. Remember the cuticle? Think about it when we start doing the other organs. For example, the roots. The roots are usually underneath in the soil. We're not going to need a cuticle there. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Have a look at number 3. What did we say? All right, we said the palisade, elongated. All right, so the longer it is, all right, the longer it is, the greater the surface area. All right? So if it's nice and long here, sunlight can penetrate right through. And then if you've got the more sunlight, we've got a lot more photosynthesis occurring. Remember number 5 as well, what do we have? Lots and lots of chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are the organelles. Remember you did the cell at the beginning of the year? The organelles responsible for photosynthesis. Okay, number 4, what do we need at the bottom? All right, we need stomata. But stomata are not only necessary for photosynthesis, but they are also necessary for gaseous exchange. So our stomata over here, all right, what do we need? We need lots of little holes. Right, there are little holes, all right, that need to bring carbon dioxide in for the photosynthesis, and the oxygen is then going to be released as a waste product. That is gaseous exchange. We also need to get rid of the water, the excess water. Plants lose most of their water, right? About 90% of the water that they actually absorb through the roots, they are going to lose. Because when we, again, later on in the year, when we do ecology, we're going to look at the water cycle. And part of the water being returned to the atmosphere is how plants lose it in transpiration. Okay, so very important, and we're going to see later on how transpiration is going to occur. Okay, then we go to the next one. All right. Okay, we've spoken about the chloroplasts. Very important. Now here we go. Okay. These walls are nice and thin. Now from here, from the top all the way to the bottom, the walls are always thin. And remember, what is it that the leaf does? Photosynthesis. What does it need? Sunlight. Right? The easier the leaf makes the plant, well, the easier the leaf is structured, all right, the easier that light can come through, it's going to be much better. You want the sunlight to come through. It would be a bit stupid if your walls were very thick and the light was reflecting instead of being absorbed, then your plant wouldn't be able to make the food, all right? So again, structure versus function. We need gases. These little stomata, they bring carbon dioxide in. You need to have gas, all right? You're going to have gases in your plant all the time, and they are going to be in those large intercellular spaces, right? You also need to have the gases for diffusion. You need to have a concentration gradient, because remember when we did osmosis, when we did the cell, all right? And diffusion, things need to move from a high to a low concentration. Okay, now again, the spongy mesophyll, as we see, and the palisade, both of them, thin, chloroplasts, right, so that food can come into it, or sunlight can come into it. Right, then we look at our last adaptation, that is going to be for transport. As we said earlier, the vascular bundle, all right. Now, when we look at the vascular bundle, this tissue over here, that I want to highlight, all right, you will see, it doesn't show here because, and sometimes you'll have tissues that come in here. The main vein, all right, needs to stay open. It mustn't collapse. So, we need to have strengthening tissues here, and we need to have at the bottom and around. Imagine if your blood vessel, what happens if your blood vessel just collapses? Okay, it collapses. Can your blood get through? No. Okay, so what happens if a plant's xylem and the phloem were to collapse? Then it wouldn't be able to get water up and food wouldn't be able to go down. Right? So we need strengthening. What are our two strengthening tissues? All right, at the top over here, we are going to find parenchyma, and around the vascular bundle, it's like a vascular bundle sheath, we are going to find sclerenchyma. Now remember when you did the cells, the parenchyma, always remember it begins with a C, all right? What does its shape look like? The corners are thickened. C for parenchyma, C for corners. So these over here, we're going to find a little cell. Remember, the corners are thickened. All right, and as soon as I thicken the corners, the lignin in the cell wall gives it strength. And then we looked at our sclerenchyma. My sclerenchyma looked very similar, but what did it have if I had to draw a cell? All right, it was evenly thickened. The walls sometimes just totally take over. So you have got your epidermis, remember your plants, your epidermis, your parenchyma, which are your palisade. There you've got your strengthening tissues, your parenchyma and your sclerenchyma, and there's your transport tissues, which is your xylem and your phloem. Right? Remember your xylem going to transport water up the stem, okay, to the leaf for photosynthesis. What is your phloem going to do? Your phloem is going to take your food and it's going to move it down. Okay, so the three things that the leaf needs to be able to do. Number one, photosynthesize. Have a look how it's adapted. Can it let the sunlight through? Is it nice and thin? Can the sunlight penetrate? Are there lots of chloroplasts? Because those are the organelles when photosynthesis comes through. I need gases, gaseous exchange. I need gases to come in and out. What are my structures? My stomata. And once my process of photosynthesis has occurred, I need to get the food down and I need to get water up. So when you look at the leaf, you've done each of the tissues when you did plant tissue. So now we pack them together and we give them special functions because the function of the leaf is very different to the function of the root and to the stem. So when you're looking at the leaf, remember its function is photosynthesis. How is it adapted to photosynthesis? Because the function of the root and the stem is going to be very different. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna have a little bit of break.
That's the only thing when I was at school. I remember in grade, I think it was in grade 9, that I learned. The only thing I remember from biology was photosynthesis. And then the other day when Llewellyn was telling me that's the only thing I remember about plants. So, great sense. I hope you guys are getting with it, learning, because really this is helping me learn so much about bio, which I didn't take back in high school. So, and that wasn't too long ago, in case you're thinking that as well. But I think it's time for a bit of a break. Please keep posting on the page. I will be answering. I'll talk to Cheryl now in the ad break about all the questions that you have. Okay. So. Welcome back, Mindsetters. I hope you guys had a good break and are ready to tackle the next few minutes of life sciences, learning about the leaf with Cheryl and I. So please, if you have any questions, keep posting on the page. I'm loving your comments. And if you have any more questions, don't forget the webpage, www.facebook.com/learnextra with an X. Cheryl, take it away.
Okay, now we're going to start off with looking at the types of questions you can expect on the leaf. I know exams and tests are the least of your favorite, but at least we need to get you prepared. When we look at the question, all right, what the first do is when I look at it, you always need to use pictures. All right, here is a diagram. So if you know your diagram, and it's very similar to the one that we went through just now, already you need to start, all those terminology needs to go through your head. You need to think upper epidermis, lower epidermis, palisade, mesophyll, spongy mesophyll, cuticle, xylem, phloem, intercellular air spaces. All of that should be going through your mind. So let's take it one step at a time and see how we can answer these questions. Okay, study the following diagram. All right, of the cross-section through a dicotyledonous leaf and answer the questions that follow. All right, let's start off nice and easy. And we start off with a nice and easy question. All right, it's always nice to start off with the easy question. It gives you a little bit of confidence for you to carry on. Give the main function of this plant organ. All right, now if we have a look over here, if you read it properly, okay, it says leaf. You know exactly what you're looking for, right? It says there. It doesn't even tell you, study the diagram of a plant organ underneath, which sometimes it can. It's already telling you that it's a leaf. So when we look at it, we need to think. Now, there's a little bit of a catch here because you can't mention just any function. You need to mention the main function. And the main function, all right, you can remember, was photosynthesis. All right, 1 mark, nice and easy. Next one, point number B. These are nice, simple questions. These are studying questions. These are nice ones. If you know it, hey, you can score and get the marks. Provide labels for parts number. Now you've learnt it. I know you have, all right? You've learnt it, and it's nice and easy. We go and we look. Okay, we want 1, 2, 9, 10, 12. So I look at number 1, all right? And that is, now be very careful here. Don't tell me epidermis. I want to know that it is the upper epidermis. All right? Or you could have some, as I said, some teachers say the adaxial or the abaxial. That would then be the adaxial surface. Okay? I think it asks for question number 2. Number 2, it's on top of it, and that is going to be my cuticle. All right, then we got number 9, 10, and 12. Number 9, I'm looking at it. What am I seeing? All right, here it is. This is a spongy mesophyll cell. So if it's a parenchyma cell, as we said, spongy mesophil is a special type of parenchyma. That dark staining would be the nucleus. Because remember, tissues is made up of different cells. Then I needed number 10. You can have 2 here. You can use intercellular airspace. All right, but that's more for these ones over here. The one closest to the stomata over there, because it's pointing to that little space over there, that is going to be your air chamber. All right, your air chamber. So number 10 is going to be your air chamber. Number 12, look here, they've asked you for that whole structure. It's a bracket. So if it's a bracket, it's not asking for the whole, which would be the stoma. It's not asking you for the 2 side ones, which are the guard cells. It's asking you for the whole structure. And remember what we said? Guard cell plus stoma is stomata. There we go, my stomata. So just by knowing that it's a leaf and being able to label, if you are not studying using diagrams, you are going to battle. Take your notes, cover the labels, learn them. Certain things you need to learn off by heart. That is going to be one of them. Right? Sometimes looking at the cell, if you know your plant tissues, you can get away with it, but it's important if you know the labels. Okay, let's go into question number C. State the number. So now please be very careful. They've asked you to state the number. They haven't asked you, all right, to give the name of the plant or the tissue. Be very particular. If they ask for number, you only give the number. Okay, so that's the first plant. State the number of the region of this plant organ where you find diffusion of gases. All right, so where are we going to find the movement of gases? So if we go upwards, all right, if we take it up, where did I say? I'm going to quickly rub it out over here for you so that we can see it much clearer. Okay, where are we going to see the diffusion of gases? Which number? Okay, where? So here we've got a few options. We've got the pen again. I'm going to use pink just so you can see. We've got a few options. 10, 11, or 12. Okay, where does it come in and where does it come out? Your answer is number 12. Right, number 12, because that is your structure. All right, so the number is 12. Okay, where you would find, state the number of the region of this plant organ where you would find the diffusion of gases. There we go. I would also, I must be honest with you, I would also sometimes if I was teaching and I saw that, I would give you the benefit of the doubt for number 10, because there you're going to have a diffusion gradient. But number 12, the stomata, would be your most accurate diagram. Okay, then again, number D, in which numbered part? Doesn't ask you to name it. There's a difference. Which number part does photosynthesis take place? Now we know by looking at it which is the main tissue for photosynthesis. All right? Which number part does photosynthesis take place? Where do you think that it's going to take place? If you have a look here, you have two options. Which numbered part? That's the palisade mesophyll. But if we have a look over here, if we look at 7 and 8, they are the chloroplasts. All right? We now got a bit of a quandary, because 15 is the region, all right, and 7 and 8 are the chloroplasts. In which numbered part does photosynthesis mainly take place? All right, and we're going to go with number 15. All right, number 15, because that's the part, the palisade. Okay, mainly, there we go. Another word, mainly. That's why we know it is not the spongy mesophyll. Even though photosynthesis does take place, not mainly. Okay, now, number E, if we have a look at it, how is the part mentioned in the question D structurally adapted to the process of photosynthesis? What did we say just now? What was number 15? The palisade tissue. So, what did we say? Okay, it's for, now I want you to have a look very carefully at this mark allocation, because some of you are going to put thin. What does thin mean? Yeah, I'm going to give you one mark. All right? It says, how is it structurally adapted? All right? So I want you to tell me, it is thin-walled. All right? And now for your second mark, give me the reason. It is thin-walled, so gases, okay, or water can move freely. Right, what else? It's elongated. There we go, elongated, one mark. What does that do? Increase surface area. Okay, for sunlight. Right, what else does it have? It's got many chloroplasts. We can say packed with chloroplasts. Okay, what are those chloroplasts able to do? All right, chloroplast is the organelle for photosynthesis. All right, another way. Okay, so now you can't say, one thing you mustn't say is it is just beneath the epidermis. That is not a structural adaptation. All right, structural adaptation here. Here's the cell, all right. What does it look like? It's elongated, it's thin, all right, and there's lots and lots and lots of chloroplasts. So now we've taken the diagram of the leaf, all right, and now we've put it into questions. Can you label it? Do you know the different functions? The next question that we're going to go to is a bit of a higher level. It's going to step it up a bit. Okay, I think we've got one more. Oh, we've still got a few more. Sorry, mine. Okay. Question F refers to gases. Which gas moves in? All right, at number 12. So if I just go up a bit, there we go. Which gas moves in? Now you need to remember that the leaf is opposite to you. So we breathe in oxygen and out carbon dioxide. What goes in? Carbon dioxide. What comes out? Oxygen. All right. So what comes in at number 12 during the day? Carbon dioxide. What goes out during the day? All right. Oxygen. It said gases. Please, you may not use water. It referred specifically to the gases. Okay, label parts 3 and 4 and state what is transported by each. The word there, transported. So we know it's going to be my vascular bundle. All right? So, and it even says to it, hello, we even nice and kind to you, and we say vascular bundle. The biggest problem here is you get the two confused. The nice big open ones, that's always your xylem. All right? So number 3 is going to be xylem. For 1 mark, don't forget the rest of the question. What did it say? Xylem and what it transports. Okay? It transports, TPT is my little thing for transport, water and minerals. All right? Number 4, at the bottom here, they're usually much. All right? They're not as thick as xylem. And remember, in between my phloem, remember you had your phloem, and you always had a little companion cell next to it, because it doesn't like to be alone. All right? There's my phloem. Okay? And it transports organic matter. Organic matter is a nice word for food. If you forget about organic matter, I'm just going to put a little arrow here. All right, sometimes it's a bit difficult to remember. You can just use the word food. Okay, let's go on to our last question. The part number 12 is involved in gaseous exchange. Okay, did you notice that will actually help you with your questions above? Name 3 gases that are exchanged through the opening at night. So what 3 gases are going to be exchanged through the opening at night? All right? What are they going to be? Oxygen and carbon dioxide. All right? Although the plant, now it says at night. Night. That was very important. Okay? Okay, sorry. Okay, opening at 12. There we go. So number 12, if we look at it, it's here. It's our stomata. And what do we know? Stomata usually close during the night. Okay? So what happens is slight little bit. So now oxygen and carbon dioxide. Remember the plant, although it's not photosynthesizing, all right, what is going to happen? It's going to, all right, still its respiration is going to occur, and it's still then going to, all right, the carbon dioxide is going to be released. Now, what is the third gas? All right, we talk about, it's actually water, but it's water vapor. Right? Water gets lost in the form of water vapor. Okay, I'm sure you've all, like you breathe out, you've breathed against a window before, and it's made a nice little sign there. Okay, we are going to not have too much time, all right, for the next question, but I want you guys to actually go and have a look at it. It's taking the plant, the leaf, and stepping it up a bit. What I want you to have a look here, there's your normal diagram of the leaf. And it talks about mistletoe. You know what mistletoe is? Those little things that you kiss under Christmas. Okay, that is actually a parasite, people. So you kiss under parasites. Not really cool. All right? Now, if you have a look at the mistletoe, look what it does. Okay? It needs another plant's, all right, food. Have a look here. Mistletoe. It takes its xylem and it penetrates the bark of the tree, and look what it does. It sucks it into the xylem, right, of the tree trunk. So what does it do? It's almost like a tapeworm in your stomach stealing all your food. Mistletoe actually steals all the water that is being absorbed, all right, from the plant. So if we have if we read over here, okay, look at the pictures. So we know. If we have a look, the mistletoe on a tree, all right, here. So we start off our first question, nice and easy. What is E and F? All right, what is E and F? Okay, F, xylem, and that should also be a bit of a hint for you, because if you have a look here, all right, what was the one? Okay, that was what it was after. And what is the last one? Okay, stomata. Because what does it want? It wants water. And how does it get it? And it needs oxygen. All right, so what does it need to do? It's going to steal it from the plant. I think that's all we got time for.
I think that was a hectic, intense, very productive lesson, though.
I think so too.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you so
Pleasure.
much. So, grade 10s, I hope you've learned so much about this lesson and about the leaf and everything there's to it. If you have any questions, please facebook.com/learnextra or Twitter @learnextra. Or if you want to get the notes about this lesson, go to the website at www.mindset.co.za/learnextra. And don't forget, if you are interested in the presenter searches, or if you have a brother or sister that's older than 18, we're looking for between like 18 to 24, because it's a new show called Connections that we're trying to launch. There's a search tomorrow at 9 o'clock, between 9 and 1 o'clock tomorrow, here at the Randburg Studios. And if you have any more questions, be free to just look on the Facebook page. All the details are there about it. So that's all love from me to you, and I hope you join in next week to our show. Have a good day, and I'm so glad that I was back here with you guys on Mindset Learn Extra. Don't forget, learn more, definitely. Learn extra.